Thank you so much, everyone. What a rousing welcome. And I know this welcome is for each and every one of us. Change, to make different in some particular way, to alter, to make radically different, to transform, to give a different position, course, or direction, to replace another, to make a shift from one to another. Merriam-Webster Dictionary. But we don't need a dictionary, do we, to understand that the world that we perceive with our five senses in the construction of this particularized body in which the whole of consciousness is localized, that we see in the manifest external world, change is constant. And change is a dynamic flow of the interactions of all of the particularized bodies and minds, finding expression through each and every one of us. To have the clarion call, what shall we do in this world of change? And we look to our great masters to help us to understand how must we be in a world of constant change. Lord Buddha said, everything is impermanent, and inherently we know the truth of that nothing stays the same. Even in our dearest relationships, in all the people we love, change will come. And even as I stand here, millions of my cells are passing away and more are being born again, until the day will come when there will be no more regeneration of cells in my body. And that speaks to the season of change. We are born and we die. It was so clearly articulated in Ecclesiastes. To everything, there is a time, a season. And so as we, in our particularized bodies, where we see multiplicity and diversity, in the limitations of the five senses that tell us we are separate, our great masters call to tell us, give up your attachments to the things of the world, because the day will come when change will visit your door. Actually, change is always with us. But why does change come? In this grand play of the divine, in which we all sing and dance and celebrate and weep and sorrow together. Because we are here to learn the lessons of life, that the articulation of the eternal messages of the great masters are the articulations of the immutable spiritual laws, that the divine is love. And we are put upon this earth to learn the ways of love and to understand that in the midst of change, we must find that love. But where is that love? All around us and within us. And our sacred journey tells our story of how we are seekers after the truth that will help our wounds and heal us and help us to find our humanity in the externalized world of constant change, and to know that beyond the appearances, there is this sacredness of life. And we know it intuitively, and all of our actions that we unfold in the world speaks the voice of advocacy and the voice of inspiration, the call always that we must band together, join together in the recognition that there is no one person, no one country, no one government can deal with the external changes. In the times of the great masters, Lord Buddha did not have to encounter nuclear weapons, nor did Jesus have to encounter the rights, the people have had the scientific technologies that now allow us to have information technologies that connect us all over the world with each other. And with those technologies that speak of our connectivity also brings up the darkness. And everywhere in creation we see the light and the dark dancing together, the pairs of opposites that speak creation, and the great teachings of Advaita, Vedanta, that speaks to us of the need for transcendence and to understand our unitive consciousness, the oneness that goes beyond the pairs of opposites. And so in the long march of human history, we come to understand that in the midst of all of the changes that cause us anxiety, that we still look to the articulation of the great masters that have come to show us the way. And it is incumbent upon all of us to give our spiritual lives the cultivation of our spiritual character and to set our spiritual discipline every day that we live. For the choices that we make ultimately becomes the cumulative statement of our lives. And at the end of the day, when I look upon my 99-year-old mother, who worked so hard to support 5 children and to keep her promise to herself, that she will see that each one of her 5 children will be educated. And she did it. The power of a woman who had to give up her education because she was the oldest to support her family. She wanted to be a teacher, but she couldn't. But in one generation, through her will and the strength and the power of her love, she saw all of her children educated. And now at 99 years, she looks back and she says that she's satisfied, that she kept all of her promises. And as life closes in, there is this intelligence, this will, this power that speaks to me beyond the form and structure, that there is life, eternal life. And she's a devout Buddhist, and I have seen her turn her life from the busyness of making a living and surviving and supporting her family to be in the remembrance of the essence of why she came, and that is to reconnect her heart, her mind, and her spirit to the eternal source. And she has now dedicated her time to the recitation of the sacred sutras and has come to know what is her true priority. And at all times in the busyness of our lives, we're so busy in the doing. But in the end, we recognize why we have come here in the first place, and that is to remember our connection to that divine source, that infinite wellspring from which we have all arisen and to which we will all return. And along the journey of our sacred lives, we touch other sacred lives, and we come to understand that it is the power of the love of a mother. That power exists in all of us, for everyone here has been born from the womb of woman. And what is the role of men in contemporary times? We all move together, as we have always moved together. And I thank the men because you're going to have to open the doors. We're coming through, and we can't be stopped. The power of this one word, change. It helped to elect a young, up-and-coming, yet unknown Black African-American president in 2008. Because his slogan was this one word, change. And so it mobilized the whole country through the inspiration of the dream of what that change could be. And yet, the word in and of itself doesn't say change from what to what. Doesn't give the roadmap of how we shall proceed. And therein is a clarion call to each and every one of us, that as we study the roadmaps, we understand that the map is not the journey, that we must undertake the journey. And while we may take out all the maps or create the maps to show the way and point the way, we still must undertake the journey. But I am not afraid of the future and the increasing complexities of the external world, because I am with you, and I have been inspired by your presence to see all of the beautiful, well-meaning hearts who have come for a week to spend our time together, that we could share, that we could connect with our stories. And I went to the restroom, and this woman stopped me and said, "Thank you for all the work that you do. I'm a Parliament junkie." And I said to her, "How wonderful that you're a Parliament junkie, and may we have more Parliament junkies." Why? Because the Parliament of the World's Religions provides this international platform where people from all over the world can come together and to share, to inspire each other. We have had world-class thinkers, speakers, activists, and I look upon all of it, the wonderment, the beauty, the well-meaning hearts that have brought us together, seeking, sharing, and speaking words of change and love and solutions. And along the way, we will always understand what Shakespeare has always understood, that in the play of life, we are always in the moral dilemma of ourselves, to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance, to dream. Thank you.